Hi there, my name's David Colman. For many years, I've been working with small and medium-sized businesses to help them to grow and thrive. Through the challenging times in 2020 and the lockdown through pandemic, we've decided to put together a series of webinars to try and assist small and medium businesses in coming back out of that particular challenge and getting their businesses ready to earn revenue immediately and to plan through the next 3, 6 and 12 months and how they're going to reactivate their businesses and enhance their businesses. We've called this series React, Improve and Prosper. This is part 5 of a 6-part series, and we are today going to be looking at our next section of getting your businesses ready, looking at what's been happening, how you're ready, and moving forward. Share my screen with you now. We've got a PowerPoint situation here where, as we've said, the COVID-19 has caused major disruption to many small and medium businesses. And business has changed to what we've been used to, and the way our customer works has changed. So through this series, we've been focusing on different areas of people's businesses, and we've designed this series to be a standalone series for each webinar or to be taken in a group. So our introductions are similar for each of our webinars, but we get, but as I said, they can be used individually or as the whole 6. We look at part 2, we focused on the customer. Part 3, we'll focus on cash flow. And today, we're going to focus on our people and technology. So what's happened we decided, or we discovered in part 2, is that our customers have changed their patterns. They've changed the way that they're buying, especially our face-to-face customer. The travel, those businesses that have their hubs around travel hubs, or the businesses around travel hubs, have found that the walk-through trade is not there. So we've had to have a look at how we've pivoted our business to create a way for us to take our business to our customer rather than our customer coming to us. And so we will look at how to get money and revenue right now, and then how this business and how your business will look in the next 12 months. Realistically, it's going to be unusual if it's business as usual the way it always was. Things have changed. The laws and rules of how we do business have changed, especially if you're dealing face-to-face with customers. So you need to have health and safety and a whole lot of other areas. So we're going to have a look at that as well. We're going to look at analysing where we are, take action of what we've been doing, and plan for the next 3 to 12 months to assist you across those. So our next slide is how do you take advantage of the ways business will be done differently in the future? And there's great opportunity. As I said, we're looking at 3 styles of the business. React, where we've had to pivot to the disruption that has hit us. One day you're doing business, literally the next week, complete business has changed. Industries have shut down. The travel industry is gone. The entertainment industry is gone. Accommodation is completely different. Even the way large restaurants had to shut down. Food areas went down. Shopping centres shut. So we all had to change and pivot our businesses really quickly to an online version. We may have done some takeaway stuff if you're in the food industry. You may have done some home deliveries, whatever it may have been. You pivoted something. The online style of your business, you may have invested in that and got some sort of online going. And we'll have a look at how to look at that a little bit more in the future. But as we said, we have had to really react really quickly. We then got an opportunity now to take action to restart. Things are coming back to normal. People are coming back to work to a degree, but business is allowed to react with the customer again. So how do we create revenue immediately? Even if it's not full revenue, but how do we create revenue? Who do we need on our teams? Do we need everybody that we've looked at before? What have we done before? So really interesting time to have a look at that. And then once we've got some revenue stream running and we rush to do that, we then need to take stock and look at what we're going to do over the next 3, 6, and 12 months. And we're going to look at parking several different plans to have those plans ready so that we can improve and prosper in our future business. And we'll be able to move easily and reactively rather than proactively as things change. Proactively rather than reactively as things change. And so we're looking at that as we go as well. But as we know, times have changed. Small business is the essence of the Australian economy. And this is why we're sort of running these webinars to help with the small to medium businesses in the area and giving you some ideas and tools that are necessary that assist your business and to improve and prosper. So now's the time that our small businesses not only react and improve, but also to set up for success in the changed future. It's going to require extraordinary flexibility, determination, and coordination. All those reasons that you became a small or medium business owner, or you've been small and grown to medium, all those reasons that you had, all the determination, all the ability and the entrepreneurship that's going to have to come back again to really kickstart your business, to find out who your new customer is, where are they, what are they doing. We're going to look at 3 phases. We've got our analyze phase, which is where is your business today? We've got a recommence phase, which is what items can you action right now to create some revenue opportunity? And then our enhance phase. What changes can you make to grow? And these are the areas that we really want to concentrate on and actually plan what's going to happen in the next 3 to 12 months so that you can take advantage of the disruption that's in the marketplace. Because opportunity, when there is disruption, opportunity abounds. So what can you do to be the one in the box seat to take advantage of all that new opportunity? We've been looking at six sections of the business. As we said, part 2, we looked at the client and customer service. Part 1, we had an overview of business in general and where we were in the economy. Part 2, we specifically looked at the client and customer and how they had changed. We'd seen that our customers' buyings had changed over the last 2 or 3 months as people were at home and they were online and they were less accessible to face-to-face business. We looked at our cash flow, being really careful about where our revenue is going to come from, being very careful and selective about our investment. Who are we investing in? What are we investing in? How much of our current product do we need to restock? What do we actually need to let go? We looked at our suppliers and partners in section 4, where not only is your business being affected, but your suppliers and partners' business is being affected. It's a really interesting part of the supply chain and part of business, to go back and push into your suppliers or your partners and have a conversation with them about how their business is going. If they are supplying you a product and they were supplying many other people that product, but 3/4 of those people are no longer operating under COVID situations, how vulnerable is that business to you supplying you? Or how much more important did you just become to them as a customer? And can you manage that relationship better? Can you get better terms? Can you get better service? Can you get better something? So you want to have a look with them. Have a look also where your supply comes from. If it comes from New South Wales or it comes from your state, that's fantastic. If it comes from interstate, that could be a challenge and over periods of time. Or we come internationally, that is a big challenge. So the current stock we've got in the country and the current stock we've got on the way is okay. But what is happening in those countries and how is productivity? Yep, we can get some shipping and things going across the world, but what's the productivity like back in those countries? Are they in lockdown? So have their supply chain stopped? So really interesting, part 4. It was really interesting to look at. Today, we're going to have a look at a combination of 2 of those, staff and technology. And here we're going to have a look at how lockdown has affected your staff and how they work and the technology that they use. So really, really interesting. What have you had to do to pivot quickly to keep them going? Teams, using Microsoft Teams, Zoom, Facebook, Insta, whatever. How have you communicated back into your staff, and how are you managing to promote and communicate with your customer and your client? What do you have to do to get your staff back to work? How much will this cost? And we looked at that in the budgetary section. How much will this cost? And how much should you spend on getting people back? So it's really interesting. Some of the big businesses in town are struggling to get people back. They don't want to jump back on the commute. They have found that it's really great to work from home. We can save hours in commuting and dollars in commuting costs. So there's been a reluctance to return. So do you fight that, or do you grasp that, turn that around and take that as an opportunity by investing in better communication tools, better CRMs, better software tools that allows you to work clearly? And then this is where your Microsoft Teams and your Zoom meetings and all of those can come together to help you if that's your business. So rather than fighting that, this might be the opportunity. As I said, in the next section, we look at technology and where you work or your place of work. And so we're going to marry staff, technology, and the place you work over these next two webinars. And it's really interesting to see, well, is there opportunity for your business to change how you perform in the future to take advantage of the new way to work and the casual way? So maybe the 60 or 70 people in an office in the city is no longer the way to go for your particular business. Maybe it is part-time, maybe there's regular time, maybe you completely go to a WeWork style situation. So really interesting that we're going to have a look at. And how can you use your learnings from lockdown to enhance your staff's ability to perform and produce? What's your ideal team? Or who is in your ideal team, really? How does your new team work best? Are they full-time? Are they part-time, casual, contract, at home, at work, a mix between the two? And overall, what sort of safety measures have you put in place in response to the pandemic that will keep your team members safe? So we're going to drive a bit of depth on those 3 points over the rest of the webinar today. So staff and technology, this is the analyze section. So when we first went off work or we went into lockdown, we had to really analyze where our business was. Find out now, how has your staff affected, or how has lockdown affected your staff, and how they work, and also the technology that they use. What strengths have you discovered? Have certain members excelled, and what strengths have you discovered from, in those particular team members? And have you found some team members that may have faltered? So what are your options around those? And those particular people that you found haven't stood up to the change as well as others and haven't been as beneficial to your business as you may have thought that they were. Second up, we're going to look at how different is your workforce environment and what has changed, and how you're managing your performance management through that change. And third, how have you been communicating with your teams? How is their mental health? Really, really, really important for all of us to be caring about our team members' mental health at the moment. And also, what changes in technology have you implemented that you've had to rush out and do quickly? And we're going to have a look at those in the third section of our analyze to see whether we've got the right technology in place and what we've got to do to try and change that up. So as I like to mention, stay here. We need you to get to write this down. Through each of these webinar series, I've been asking you to build 3 different plans or 3 different documents. One is around your analyze section, then obviously your recommence section, and later on your enhance section. And the reason I want you to keep these together, because each of the topics that we're doing on analyze through our webinar series, you can then bundle them together towards the end, and we can have a look at all the things that we're going to analyze, all the things that we need to do to recommence to make income now, and all the things that we're going to do to enhance our business over the next 3 to 6 months to 12 months. So we just keep those in a good loop. So whatever it might be for you, an iPad, a desktop, whatever it might be, pen and paper, just build your plan out. So question 1, how has lockdown affected your staff, how they work, and the technology they use? As I mentioned before, have you found certain team members that have really excelled from working remotely, that have stood up, that have helped and assisted your business greatly, more greatly than you ever thought they could? Or maybe that's their standard role and they've managed to pivot to online really, really well, and that they are deserving of your further attention and working with you and taking them forward into the into the future. Yes, so have you discovered any gems out there, any hidden gems amongst your staff? Did you find that maybe somebody had some strengths you didn't know that they had, and they might be great with technology? They might have been the person who ended up running your Zoom meetings or your team meetings on the technology side that you really didn't think that they or know that they had, and that was just a skill that they had in their background and was really, really handy to you. So how can you utilize these skills in the long term? And also, if anyone's faltered, somebody who you thought would have been better, would have been better and could have done better, and have they, I suppose, not have performed at the optimum level that you thought they might? And so what are your options around this with this person? Maybe you've discovered that maybe in your new revenue stream, where in your new customer, maybe you don't need everybody. So what are you going to do around getting the right people on board? And in this time of change, maybe it's the time, do you look at changing up some of those staff members? And some of those staff members may be people who you thought you'd never change, but maybe in the new world, maybe they're the ones who need to need to step aside. So you've got to look at what you can do along those particular lines. It's a hard subject, but it's reality. We're looking at your revenue. We're looking at how to get your profit and loss back into a really healthy state. And sometimes you've got to make these really strong business decisions. I said you can reach out, and we'll do this a bit later, to get some professionals on board to help you to do that if you and to analyse where you are. So we're also going to think about, at this point, in analysing how your staff has been affected through lockdown, is how do they suit your new business? And this is where I'm going again with your current staff, is how do all your staff members individually suit what the new business looks like? And as we did in part 2, we analysed what our customer is doing and the changing buying patterns of a lot of people in businesses. Some businesses are still coming back, but how will they come back? What are they got to do? Even if we look at the travel at the moment, intra-state, within our own state, is open for travel and holidays. So your international teams are really not doing anything. Is there some talent there that you need to bring across into looking at your more local support and holiday people? And maybe this local support and holiday people haven't really been able to readjust to all the changes that's been there. So you just need to have a look at each of your businesses, see who's capable and who's going to best work in the new working environment. Once again, looking at the short term and the longer term. And we're concentrating no more today than over the next 3 to 12 months, because things are changing so rapidly. If you can plan outside that at the moment, you're doing well. Do you need to look at alternative style of workers? It's really, really interesting. Just prior to lockdown, the gig economy was taking off. People had multiple jobs, short-term jobs, contract jobs, come in, do a job for you, go and do a job for someone else, maybe a competitor, but they go and they have the skills that they have and you pay for them for what you need. Maybe you need more casual staff rather than full-time staff. Maybe you need to work on partnerships. Who are they? What are they? Working with your suppliers and working with your client. Does your relationship become, instead of supplier or servant master, does it really become partners? Are there things that you can share? Is there product you no longer need from there that you do need more from here? Once again, have you become more important? And we did this in our supply chain session. Have you become more important to a particular buyer or a particular supplier? And can you now make a partnership from that rather than the servant master situation? So once again, looking at your staff members, who could fit into that pattern better, who's able to have those conversations with your suppliers and to support you. And it may not just be the person who is possibly order taking. Maybe you need someone who's a little bit more outgoing, whatever it may be. Maybe you need people who have got higher tech skills, because you're going to do a lot more online. And we're looking at the tech side of this as well with your people. So do you need, to have, will you be upgrading your tech? Will you be getting better, faster, cleaner, and methods and systems and processes all online to marry with the way that your suppliers have all changed theirs as well? So who are the new workers? Where do they need to work? And when? When will you need them to actually start making revenue dollars right now? So point 2 in the analyze section, how different is your workforce environment and what has changed and how are you dealing with performance management? So how can your business keep a focus on the employee health and mental well-being? What is your approach and policies to this? And do you have everything in place to abide by the government guidelines and employee well-being needs? It's a really, really important section. So many people have actually struggled being on their own. There might be a portion out there who really loved it, but a whole lot of people may be struggling. Financially, there's a lot of people struggling. They're becoming, worried about their self-worth. And you've got to look at, all of your staff members from all avenues. There's some really good focus groups that are out there. Beyond Blue is exceptionally good. There's a men's health group called the Banksia Project. Projects like that, there's many, many, many more out there that you can dive down to. But have a look at what they're there, and really introduce some sort of health program into your business. No matter how small you are, you need to do that. And maybe it's you. Maybe you need just to have that connection and that support, not just your own support network, but a professional support network as well that can assist you just to make sure that you are on track. It's really, really important because it's been a challenging time, no doubt. The lockdown, COVID, the whole stariness of it, it's been very, very challenging for everybody. You are not alone. How are you managing performance management in this, and what sort of new tools and tech and expert assistance have you been getting? So what tools are available to best manage performance in a diverse and dispersed virtual workforce? As I said, what sort of CRM sales tools are you using? How are you communicating with your teams? Is it Zoom? As I said, Microsoft Teams? What are you doing? What sort of CRM programs? Are they good enough? They might have been okay because you've had to pivot really quickly, but right now to get back into revenue and for the future, actually sit back, have a look, analyze and see if they are good enough for your business and they're good enough for you to actually move forward and make money out of them and make sure that they're strong enough. Reach out for some professional help with your people to make sure that you understand what you're going on. There's people like the hrdepartment.com.au if you're concerned about how to bring people back, whether they're on the right hours, if you need to change up their hours, change up their style of working, whatever it may be. It's very, very complicated. COVID is not an excuse to break the law and change the rules. So you need some really strong guidance along that. So there's plenty of assistance out there. That's just one that's very good. So just go out there and get some advice. There's advice everywhere that you need to actually go and reach out that you may never have done before to make sure that you can turn and run your business effectively and efficiently into the future. Because the new business with the new customer and the new supply chain is different, and maybe you need some real advice on people who've been up to speed and getting some really great knowledge in this area. Have you determined the kinds of work that will remain virtual in your business and which will return to an office environment, either on a temporary or full-time basis? And sort of, so what processes and practices are anchoring your employees to the physical workspace, and can they be changed? I mean, if you look down to the future, can you have this mixed environment of virtual and in office sort of working? Can it get that virtual and physical space? Can you make that mixed up? Can you actually get this really good vibe that your business may have right now and enhance it rather than just dragging everybody back and saying, you must do this? Have you had to make any structural changes to your teams? Have you had to look at what you're doing in your reporting lines and maybe had a change up there? So what do you got to do right now to earn money? You've had a look, you've had to change some people around, you've found their strengths. So have a look at who's who in your team, who's best to go for, and work with them to make that happen. As I said, reach out for advice if you need that, with the right people. Our third question in this, the analyze section, is how are you communicating with your teams? What changes in tech have you implemented? Are your current staff able to supply and service what is required for your new customer? And as I said, I've seen in part 2, we looked at the new customer. So do you actually have the right team members in the right roles, in the right space? Are they the right people? So you really need to have a look at that. Are you spending enough time ensuring your employees are okay? Are you remembering to devote enough time to check in on your employees during these uncertain times? How are you checking and communicating with them? And how is their response to you? Be very, very careful around this. How have your staff reacted to their changed circumstances, potentially their reduced income? And how do you feel their loyalty is? And it's really, really important. You've built some staff members, you've built this loyalty, everybody's saying, she's okay, that's all right, I'll do 4 days a week, I'll do 3 days a week, I'll do this, I'll do that, it'll be okay. But realistically, how do they feel about that? If things come back, all the businesses go out. I said disruption creates opportunity. Have you been a business that's looked after your team members effectively? If not, do they come back and change you up for another employer and you lose that fantastic IP because you had to go into a certain mode of business saving? Everybody came along with you because really they have no choice. But when choice comes back, do they turn around and say, you know what, David, you didn't treat me correctly, I'm gone. And so you need to be reaching back into your staff members. It is really important because there is a whole underlay of unhappiness and disgruntled. It's easy to say, hey, I'm doing okay. Yeah, she's good. It's fine. But is that the reality? And I think we need to have a real good reality check on what's going on. A lot of people are unhappy about the fact that they're earning less money. We all are. So let's not be, let's be realistic around the fact that this may mean that we may lose good members of staff. So now is the time to address that. Get some one-to-ones going. While you can actually come back and meet some people, make sure that happens. So that's a fantastic opportunity for you to take advantage of that, and potentially an opportunity for you to obtain really good staff from some of your competitors if they're not being looked after successfully. Also, can all your employees and your managers access new government mental health support programs, tools and resources? Once again, just get expert advice in this area. Go to people who are there and they're trained to help people. And so you go and get people who are great with mental health. If you're having trouble with your staff members, go and find someone who can help you with your staff, whatever it might be, and we'll go through a whole list of other things shortly. So moving into recommence. So right now, you can reoperate your business, or most of us can, in some form or way. So the next section we're going to look at is we're reopening following the lockdown to make sure that we can afford the staff as they return. We'll have which government incentives can you still access to assist to keep servicing your customer and your client. So what we want to do here is just to check. On part 3, we looked at cash flow. So to check which and how many members of your staff in your current projected cash flow return or revenue can you actually afford. If you had 20 staff, can you bring them all back on? Can you bring them out of back into full-time work or back into the roles that they once were? Once again, it's analysing who has been working well for your business. And this might be the time that we change this up a little bit. Staffing, we're going to check back once again on our budgets and cash flow. Who are the best people for your new normal? How will you support the teams as you recommence? What are you doing technology-wise to keep that support going? Does everyone come back to what they were? Are they part-time? Do you still need to keep some of the remote working going? When they come back, what are the safety measures you've got in place? And what technology do you have in place that you have? Do you have a COVID plan for safety, especially if you're dealing with customer-facing employees? So in your shops or in your businesses, when they are meeting customers and clients, what is the safety measures that you had to go and pivot to really quickly? And now recommencing, what do you definitely have to have in place for those, in the way that your customers and the way that your staff interact. You need to have that in place. You need to have that in writing. You need to have it documented and plans thereof. So there are COVID plans on the government website you can download and work with. And as I said, there's people who work in the people industry, HR people, who can help you with that if you need to, if you're not sure exactly what to do. And once again, all this is underpinned by the technology that's changing. How we'll be able to support people in the hybrid virtual world. So really, really important that you get your technology right. Once again, write down our ideas here in the recommence phase, and we'll get into these particular questions. So staffing, check back on your budgets and cash flow in part 3. Part 3, your cash flow boost incentives, JobKeeper payments, what is available for you. So what is the cost of your current staff? What changes do you need to make to service the customer today? And what about your people's salaries, hours, and the products? So get your, are you eligible for cash flow boost incentives? Are you on JobKeeper? Do you have JobKeeper payments coming through for your teams? What further changes in demand to your services do you anticipate, and how will that impact your workplace requirements? Have you found a niche that's just gone berserk and your business is about to go crazy down Avenue A, Avenues B and C are closed to you? So the people who are working in B and C, do they pivot across to A and support that, or do some of them come and some others? And what does that look like? So what changes can you make? Do you delay the scheduled new hires of people, or do you bring them in at this particular time and boost your staff to the opportunity? Or do you need to say, you know what, I was going to grow, I was going to bring on extra salespeople, I was going to do this, I was going to bring on extra tech people. What do you need? Do you need to reevaluate salary increases over the next 12 months? If your business has been adversely affected, this may be the fact you will not be able to introduce any salary increases over the next 12 months. Is this an opportunity to engage your teams in this? It is on their mind. You can bury it and let them make the decision as to whether you're treating them right, or you can bring it out and talk to your team about the future of their income, about how much money they're going to be getting on their normal weekly wage, and is there any increase coming? Yes, no, or maybe so. And you can put that over 3, 6, 9, and 12 months plan. So right now, it's no. I've just got back to work. We've got 3 months worth of debt. I've got my rent and my mortgage on later. There's a tsunami of debt coming. I need to get things going. Help me get things going, and we'll bonus you after the 6 months. X, 9 months, Y, 12 months there if we get to X, Y, Z. That sort of conversation, rather than just nothing gets you nothing back, and people start to worry. On the other side of it, do you have to consider redundancies, options to including reduced hours for your new staff and through shutdown periods? Or do you have to, once again, we just mentioned the financial packages. Where are you looking, and do your staff understand where your business is at really? And your business, your staff can see the revenue coming through, so you want them to understand where some of those costs are, so they're not sitting there thinking you're pocketing a lot and they're getting nothing. So once again, following our analysis of the buying patterns in part 2 and our cash flow in part 3, we want to work out what the highest priority is for you in your business to be able to attract and keep your original customer, to keep your revenue rolling, plus pivot to the opportunity that is out there caused by the disruption to pick up a new customer. So really, really important we have the right people on board with the right salaries as we go. How will you support? Oh, sorry, I missed one. People. So people, who is the best for your new normal business? So have you planned for potential shortage in talent supply? Now this sounds really crazy, but if you come back and you need people, are they about? Is JobKeeper keeping them away? They're going to stick in their current role because they know they're getting paid under this period of time. So if you actually need these people, what are you going to do to attract them? Do you have to go to contractors, the gig economy, casual, whatever it might be, to pull these people across? What is your employee value proposition in the new normal? How does the business address concerns of on-the-job security and uncertainty over the future. So really, really important here that, as I mentioned before, what are you doing to allay the concerns of your teams about their uncertainty in the future of their role and the type of role that they're going to be working and the income that they're going to receive so they can manage their own home budgets. If you don't have the conversation, people assume the worst and you could actually lose really good talent just by not communicating with them. How does the business, how do you imagine or manage the volatility in work shifts and in work activities to redeploy skills? So as you said, who is best in your team? Who is the best people in your team for the right job? Where they've been before may not be the best place for them now. As I said, while they've been in lockdown or remote, you may have found absolutely really good sources that or these team members might have new talent that you can actually grab and utilize. So really, really good to touch base with that. And then once again on communication, what tools and tech are you using? Do you have the right tools and tech? Have you just, when things hit in a rush, did you just grab whatever you needed to make sure you can go online and offline? Now is the time. What do you need right now to recommence and turn a dollar and get that going? It might just be the same as it is. And then in the next section, we're going to look at planning. Do we have the right tools? So here we're going to look at how we recommence. What items can you action right now? In our third section. So how will you support your teams as you recommence and what technology needs to be implemented? So once again, we're touching on the mental health and well-being and getting your staff back to work. How do you connect, engage with, and support with your virtual team? And are you equipping leaders and managers with resources they need to support the teams and install trust in a virtual and hybrid workforce? So really important that you actually sit down and manage where your people are. Do you have enough two-way communication in place with your remote employees to answer their concerns, to manage their challenges? How do you support those requiring increased flexibility with homeschooling still happening in many, many parts of the country? And how are you managing to change around your needs or how you need that particular person to operate, and so that you can be flexible enough for that? What tools and platforms continue to be effective to support physical and virtual work? It's this hybrid work, and is there another way? So it's a really good time to get professional advice. Get professional advice around your people. Get professional advice around the mental health. Get professional advice around your IT, your systems and your processes. Get someone to have a look at it, and maybe they can come up with a brand new. There's been such a boost in technology through the lockdown and the COVID period that things have been developed so quickly. Zoom, platform I'm on, for instance, when they started in December, had 10 million customers. By March, they had 210 million customers. They've had to change what they do. How do we change what we do? So now is a really good time to look at that, to recommence, to get dollars going. And our final section we're going to look at, the three things we're going to look at here, is how to enhance our business. So what does it look like? We've pivoted out of the emergency of changing straight away, and we've had to have a look and analyze our business. We've got our doors open. We're trying to create revenue any old way possible and manage our staff the way it goes. That's fantastic. Run, turn that revenue. There we are. Now take a chance and have a look. Just take a moment and say, well, what's going to be most beneficial to me and my business in the next 3, 6, 9, and 12 months? Because business has changed. I'm running today, but do I need to be over there? Is there an opportunity? Has the disruption created more havoc for my competitor than it has for me? So what changes can you make to enhance your business? We'll have a look at that. Which team members will best scale post-COVID-19? And what do you need to become a better business through technology, through training, and your people support? So we'll go into those. Once again, writing down what we've got, building up a plan. So this is where we're going to build our plan under the 3 different sections, where we can enhance what we're doing to and prosper into the future. So what changes can you make to enhance your current business? Who and how many people are your ideal workforce? Based on your customer analysis part 2. So in part 2, we asked, how will your revenue model change based on the change relationship with your customer and your client? What changes could you make to your current business to take advantage of that changes? So now we add to that, what is the ideal workforce size to enable flexibility, sustainability in the current environment so that you can move forward? What capabilities are most valued as you evolve work priorities and outcomes? And then what training and upskilling is required, and where do you need to invest in your people in this particular area? And it may be different to what it was. If you're a very sales-focused business, the way that you actually need to train your guys and your ladies and your team around getting things going and how they actually communicate with the customer and what technology they're using to do so may have changed over that period of time. The face-to-face in the doorstep meeting is not as easy to get today. So what sort of skills do you need to do? On that, what have you learned also around effective collaboration and working together? Did you find that people teamed up and they're much more effective working as a team or a pair out there selling rather than out there on their own, whatever it might be, in whatever industry that you are in, however it may be done? Is your technology up to scratch, and what do you need to improve upon to be competitive? So what changes can you make now to enhance your current business? Is your tech right? What do you need to do? Do you need to get advice around that? And if so, how much? And you can start to budget how much you need to change. Remember, we've got revenue coming now. We're running. We're doing what we have to do. But what are we going to look at into the future to be better and to be ready if we have to lock down again? It's happening. There's going to be waves coming. We spoke about this in our opening webinar, part 1, how the different waves will make us change. I want you to lock in some plans, 3 or 4 different plans. So you can pull out plan 2, we're locked down again. This is what happens. Plan 3, my competitor's shut. How do I take advantage of that? Plan 4, things are going really, really well, but I've got to change up some people. What do I look like there? My tech needs to change. And this is where we're asking those questions, and I need you to go out there and get some answers. Build those plans in to enhance your business, to make sure that your business platform is secure. So that's really, really important, really, really important. And if you've got that staff, how are you going to support your staff so they support you? You're going to give your staff better access to technology tools, especially when they're remotely working, which will allow them to remain engaged and work effectively. And you've got to reach in. You've got to reach into them. There's no point just talking to them maybe once a day. In a work environment, you're communicating all the time. If you're sitting around and opposite people, you're throwing queries and questions. If you decide that an email in the morning and a telephone call in the afternoon or a Zoom meeting once a week is enough, I'm telling you, I don't think it is. So you need to have a higher level of communication. You need to, as the manager, push that, not wait for that to come back. Really, really, really important to keep the team engaged over the period of time. Which team members will be best to scale post-COVID-19? And I touched on this earlier. Have you found any new stars in your business? Can you work more efficiently from your lockdown? So, and from your lockdown learnings, have you managed to find people in your team who are fantastic and you didn't actually know how good they were in all the areas that you need? And have you found people who are not so good? So do you have to move people on? And do you have to analyze how important each person is or is not to your business? And there can be some really difficult decisions to have to make here. Who's going to work best in your business? And if your business looks like it needs to be skinnier, your customer has changed, the revenue's less, your products are actually sold for less, whatever it might be, then you're going to have less revenue through. To keep your profit to a reasonable level, you might have to have less cost. And so people may need to multitask, need to manage more and do a lot more for you. So do you have the right people in place for this to occur? Are there opportunities to cross-train your people and your employees so that they can perform a variety of roles to future-proof your business? So really, really important. And if you scale or continue virtual working post-COVID, whenever post-COVID happens, what processes, what employee processes do you need and can you actually put online, such as induction, onboarding, access to remote hardware, performance management, all of those things. Can you, what systems and processes can you put in place so they can be done remotely? So once again, really, really important to have a look at that in your business right now. Our final question in this section, what do you need to do to become a better business through technology, training, people, and support? So what have you learned through this crisis, and how can you implement the best parts of those learnings in the next 3 to 12 months to make sure that your business is on an upswing and that you're taking advantage of the disruption, taking advantage of the opportunity? Have you updated your COVID safe plan? Do people actually know what it is, where it is, how they can work remotely, how they can work face-to-face with customer, whether they're in your office environment, dealing with client, whatever it may be? So you've got to work around your people, work around your technology, take your learnings, plan for the different changes that we've got coming, and get expert advice. Cannot push you enough with your people and your technology. When we did cash flow, we want to check back with our accountants and our expertise here there. With your people, get to the HR departments. With your technology, go to your IT support and find out what's going on. Check out what is there, be ahead of your competitor. And this is the important part. The improve phase will determine the future of your business. Your customers, your staff, your suppliers, and your competitors will be watching what you're doing. How you return and improve will define your reputation as a business, your performance and potential to prosper into the future. So we're really, over this series of webinars, been looking at how we are reacting, improving, and prospering in your business. How did you react to COVID? Was it successful? What have you done now as you've reopened your business to enhance and improve your business, And what are you going to enhance in your business to prosper into the future in the new ways and in the new way of business, the new way of customer, the new way of employee, the new way of actually creating revenue and trade. So you really got to have a look at all those. So this has been part 5, which was looking at our people and technology around our people. One more, part 6, we'll be looking at technology and the places that we work from and our customer environments. So thank you once again for joining me today, and I hope you're getting something out of these webinars. Feel free to reach out and contact me. As I said, my name's David Colman. Feel free to reach out and contact me if you need any further conversation or comment around this. And I look forward to seeing you at the next webinar. Thank you now.